Hello, everyone. My name is Yashwant. I'm here to talk about the software engineering interview. The process we have in any software engineering interview, and some of the concepts you should be aware of, and how do you want to prepare yourself. I know we are in a situation where we don't have as many interviews going on, but it's best to prepare yourself for the future. And I would like to think that this video will be very helpful for people who are graduating in the near future. And most of these links I'll be posting on the description, and I hope this video will actually give a head start for your preparation. Yeah. So in this software engineering interview, the process is divided into multiple rounds. Let's go and look at that. Yeah. So any engineering interviews will start with you applying, or you going to the LinkedIn and reaching out for the position. Once your resume or the profile is selected, um, the HR of that company will reach out to you to make sure that your experience matches with their position, and if there is like a similar position in the future, you can connect with him and actually making sure that you are perfect fit for the based on the requirement of the position. Right. Once that is done. Usually there is an online assessment for graduates, or a coding round from a software engineer at the company. So that will be a coding round mostly. And then once you make sure that you're done with that coding round, and you pass that coding round, you will go to the on-site round, and these are like usually 4 to 5 rounds, mostly coding, 2 to 3 rounds of the coding. You'll do like a system design interview if you're looking for like a senior software engineer or software engineer. If um, um, and A managerial round to make sure that you actually, if you have any questions about uh, the position itself, or like just to understand like what the person is, and any like a little bit technical rounds, but manager round is mostly like conversation, and the behavior round to make sure that the engineer actually follows the value of the company. um, um, and then the last, once you make sure that you are like um, you pass with the flying colors, you'll get a email about the offer, and you go through the negotiation process to make sure that you accept the offer, and everything on the offer matches to your requirement. Yep. So in this, based on the rounds, you should see that a software engineering interview preparation consists of sections of things. One is the coding skills. The coding skills is the major part. Is very time consuming for the preparation. So you should time yourself to like make sure that you have 3 to 4 months, or if you have just 2 months, make sure that you hone your skills on the coding skills. There are like several websites where you can read through the similar problems which comes on the interview itself. Leadcode.com is the famous one. I guess like you can look through the 2000 plus coding questions, but don't be overly tensed looking at lots of questions. Actually, there is a set of questions like 75 to 100 questions. If you solve those questions, it should be enough. Um, um, I will be posting that 75 questions um, on the description of the YouTube video. There are some programming books. I like the Elements of Programming book, which will give you a kind of a explanation about the algorithms and data structures, and way to solve that. Um, like a different problems after each section to actually prepare yourself. That's on the coding skills. The other part was the system design. System design is a part of the process where you have to you'll be given a vague a question about designing a youtube.com, or designing like a dropbox.com, or designing a Google search engine. And you will be just given that a simple question, and it's up to you to divide that requirement and make sure that you ask good questions to define the scope of it, scale of it, and then you have to come up with your different solutions about this, the design of the system, the database of the system, and how many systems you'll start with, and how you scale that to like multiple number of services. Yeah, so there are similar online resources like System Design Primer. It's a GitHub link, um, actually a GitHub a repository, and you can actually look into different system design concepts like databases choice, how do you design asynchronous systems, what is load balancer, in the client side what is DNS CDN, and how do you scale the databases, right? Like you want to use SQL database or a SQL database. If it is a SQL database, how you scale it with like multiple databases, how do you synchronize the databases among each other, like the different options, how not actually you synchronize, but different options, and the different choices based on the system design requirement. It's very thorough website, and I would highly encourage you guys to like go through this. This kind of helped me to like when I was like not aware of any system design concept, to get the basics and actually applying on the examples this website actually shows. And once you have these, once you go through this website, I would actually encourage you to um, read some blogs from the company you're applying for. Make sure you read through their blogs to understand their engineering concepts, and for both these coding skills and system design skills, it's always better to do mock interviews. There is a website called interviewing.io. I like that website. They do like a free interviews, and there's a website called pramp.com, pramp.com, where you can do both the system design and coding interviews. um, for Learning is one part of the task, but actually making sure that you go through that actual interview will give you um, like an example walkthrough of how the interview looks like, instead of like wasting your chances on the interview. It's always better to do a mock interview. You can be like a lot better by doing the coding question by yourself, but when you are in a situation where the other person is actually looking at how you're solving the problem, you have to communicate through the problem solution. And I know we usually don't talk with the other person when we code a problem or design a problem, but having a process of communicating while you think through is a level above. So making sure that you do a mock interview really helps on getting a good performance on the interview. Yeah, so once these two things are done, there are other things like experience based questions and leadership principles. And you have to make sure that, for example, experience based questions, you'll be asked about like a recent technical problem or the project you worked on. Make sure that for this kind of a question, you come up with multiple examples, and you cover the scalability problem, you covered the infra and cost saving problems, and you have to make sure that you explain the metrics in detail. Last and not the least, the leadership principles. The leadership principles is a separate interview in the process I was showing about the behavioral interview. Make sure that you follow a process called like a SWAT process, where the star approach, not the SWAT approach, star approach. It's called situation, task, action, and result approach. um, in a leadership principle interview, you'll be asked about a value and explain about a situation where you have to come up with a process in place for customer satisfaction, for example. Then you have to come up with a solution which or a situation. So make sure that you follow this process. You explain the situation, and then the task you have followed to solve the situation, um, and then action, and then result. So that gives you like a systematic approach of solving that, or coming up with that a answer to that leadership principle value. um, yeah, so I would say go through these links I'm posting on the description. And I'm thinking of putting like system design videos on this YouTube channel. And on this process, I will learn myself to be like a better communicator, and also hopefully I'll be helping people who are like preparing for themselves. And I guess like we can do some discussions on the future videos where you can ask questions, and then hopefully we can um, learn. Both you as a viewer and I as a creator can learn. Thank you, and once again, happy coding, happy system designing, and happy preparing. Bye. Hello everyone.